In Activity 3, The Roots of Erosion, students observe how the presence of plants and their accompanying root structures greatly reduce soil erosion. They first plant grass seed and observe plant growth over a 10-day period, then compare the amount of soil erosion that occurs in the presence and in the absence of plants. You will need the following materials from the kit: Activity Sheet 3, plastic container with hole, 1-liter containers, stream table grid, pegboard, grass seed, potting soil, stream table with grommet, masking tape, and vinyl tubing. You will also need to provide items to elevate stream table and tap water. To prepare for the activity, make a copy of Activity Sheet 3 for each student. Prepare a demonstration area where student volunteers can plant grass seed in one of the empty stream tables. Choose a sunny area in the classroom where students can observe and water the stream table over the next 10 days. To begin Session 1, ask students, what do you think soil is made up of? Accept all reasonable responses, and then explain that soil is made up of sand, silt, clay, and decaying plant and animal matter. Soil covers much of the land on Earth, and soil is what plants take root and grow in. Ask students, what effect do you think plants have on the erosion process? Some students may remember that the roots of plants can facilitate the weathering process. For example, they can break sidewalks, streets, and walls. Then ask, how could we examine the relationship between plants and erosion? Students may suggest an experiment using a stream table that has plants growing in it. Next, place a stream table, a grid, a bag of potting soil, a package of grass seed, and a 1-liter container filled with tap water on the demonstration table. Invite the students to gather around the demonstration area. Have one volunteer place the grid in the bottom of the stream table. Have another pour the bag of potting soil in the end of the stream table opposite the grommet and smooth it out so that it fills half the table. Have a third plant the grass seeds in half of the soil and moisten all of the soil with tap water. The soil should be damp but not soggy. Place the stream table in a sunny location and discuss how to care for the grass. Next, distribute a copy of Activity Sheet 3 to each student. Have the students record the planting date and time on their activity sheets. Every other day for the next 10 days, have the students water the entire surface of the soil as needed and observe and record any changes in the grass. After 10 days, begin Session 2 by retrieving the stream table and placing it at the demonstration area. Also place length of tubing, 2 1-liter containers, a plastic container with hole, a piece of pegboard, a roll of masking tape, and items to use as props. Each student will also need his or her Activity Sheet 3 from Session 1. Invite the students to gather around this area for the following demonstration. Ask students, if we simulate a heavy rain or a stream in this stream table, what do you predict will happen? Students should predict that the soil would start to wash away, especially on the side without grass. Then ask, how do you think plants and their roots help reduce erosion caused by running water? Students may suggest that plant roots bind the soil together so that less soil will be carried away by the running water. Next, attach one end of the tubing to the grommet in the table and let the other end hang down into a container on the floor. Elevate the stream table about 4 centimeters. Attach the pegboard and position the container with the hole in the bottom over the section of the table that contains the grass. Fill the container with tap water and tell students to observe the amount of erosion that occurs. Next, position the container over the section of the stream table that contains only soil. Again, fill the container with water and tell the students to observe how much erosion occurs this time. Have the students record their observations on Activity Sheet 3. Ask students, were you surprised by the results? How would you explain how the grass reduced erosion? Students should be able to describe how the roots of the grass held much of the soil in place, thereby reducing the amount of soil erosion. Then ask students, why is it important to keep ground covered with vegetation? Students should conclude that when areas become exposed, they become heavily eroded during rainstorms. Finally, inform students that this stream table will be used again in Activity 11. It is important that the grass and soil not be watered again between now and then, as the soil needs to be as dry as possible for that activity. Place the stream table in a location where it will neither be disturbed nor receive direct sunlight. To conclude the activity, remove the pegboard and the tubing, but leave the grommet in the hole. Discard the water that has accumulated in the receptacle. Rinse and air dry the containers and tubing and return them to the kit. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the Delta Science Reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.